broader travel story, of course, it is that reopening play, but we are still in lockdown. Before we dive into those stocks, what are your thoughts on the sector?
It's been a tough sector, Cara, over the last year. I think getting into those travel stocks a year ago was profitable. I mean, it's something that we did and it worked out well. But obviously, for the first half of 2021, it's been a tougher trade. By now we all thought we'd be traveling again, and clearly most of us are still stuck at home. So it's it has been a difficult trade, but what we have noticed, I guess a lot of people have noticed, is at the start of last week, a lot of these travel stocks really started to get going again. So of course the market is forward-looking. We're looking forward to getting out of lockdown, traveling again, and I think a lot of it had to do with a change in. There's been a bit of a change in narrative from whether it's from the Prime Minister or Gladys, in terms of being able to get back out there, and we're starting to see that flow of money in the travel stocks again. So it looks like potentially it's back on as a trade.
All right, well, the charts definitely do tell that story. So let's have a look at some of them. Corporate Travel Management is first off the blocks. The stock is up just over 30% year to date, and it looks like it's pushed through a key level there. Tell us more.
Yeah, so as you say, push through a key level. This is just a classic setup. So I've mentioned this type of setup before, but I'll go through it again for some of our newer viewers. Basically, what we have is a situation here where corporate travel, it initially put a high in March, and I've labelled that with the number 1. We can see that on the left-hand side. And then the shares fell back. And after rallying again in May, they came back to retest that March high. Now, I like this setup because instead of being sold down from that horizontal line, they actually just traded sideways, and I've circled that there. So we have to remember New South Wales, or Sydney more specifically, entered lockdown at the end of June. So during that whole period of time, June, July, August, plenty of opportunity for corporate travel to be sold down because of the lockdowns, but instead it's been hanging just under that resistance line. So this setup here, where you've got a stock that basically hugs the underneath of a major resistance line, it's a very bullish setup, because what you've effectively got is every time corporate travel gets near $22, people start selling, but it's being met, as we could see, with almost equal buying. So instead of the share price falling all the way back down to about $16, $17, it's actually just hanging in there, just under 22. So when I see this setup, I get excited, because I know that if it breaks to the upside, potentially you get a nice rally. And we could see that there was an upside break last week. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the travel stocks are really starting to get a move on now. And I think corporate travel is still a buy here. So at the moment, the shares are down about 2% today. So what that's telling me is we might get a bit of a retest around that 22.50 level. But essentially around these sorts of levels is where I'd be happy to buy, and I'd expect to continue rallying after this.